how can I ensure that every learner is always engaged? Let's go back and let's just establish a new protocol. And this is one I've used for years, and it's been interesting to watch it translate into a virtual environment. I play show me. Show me. Well, if I said, okay, I'm thinking of a number that is bigger than 5, but smaller or less than 7. What's the number, friends? And I don't want all my friends to shout out 6, right? How do I have them participate? And then I think of whiteboards, right? And I might have them write it on a whiteboard. And the problem with something like having them write on a whiteboard, one, we've got to fumble and go get it. So we have to make sure we've set that up ahead of time. And I still play show me with the whiteboards too, because then if they all start holding their answer up, everybody's looking at each other's answer, right? What'd you write? So I have this routine called show me. And it's the purpose is engagement. So if I'm thinking that number, I say, okay, once you've thought of the number, I want you to hide it in your lap. Hide it. Right, everybody hiding it. Are you ready? Are you ready? And then on count of 3, we're all going to show at the same time. When I say show me, hold up your answer. Remember, the number was something less than 7, but bigger than 5. What is the number? Are you ready? Is it hiding in your lap? 1, 2, 3, show me. And the idea is that they're supposed to pull it up quickly. It's not a look around, what is that person showing? Oh, listen, they have to have it ready, right? And so it's that intentional not just compliance, but participation. They're engaging with each question. I could go back to that first shape and have the students do it. I could also do it with the thumbs up and thumbs down, and I can establish right ahead of time, is this thumbs up or thumbs down? And sometimes I'll even differentiate it. I'll tell them thumbs up is high and thumbs down is low. So I can have that quick scan. That's a quick check for understanding for me too. Right? I can see where they're at. So you guys have your answer. You ready? Do you agree or disagree? Are you hiding it? Hide it, hide it. 1, 2, 3, show me. And again, I make sure that that thumb up is high and thumb down is low. And that helps really make sure I can see it quickly. If I put it in place, we establish engagement routines. That's for in-person learning. But guess what? Show me really works on screen too. When your students have the video on, they can play show me there as well. Agree? Disagree? Sometimes I'll even go further with like the second graders especially. I'll teach them A, B, and C in sign language. A, B, and C in sign language, because sometimes there might be choices, option A, option B, option C. And I might put the question up there, which one, which is example of whatever. Okay, hide it in your lap. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, show me. And that's my quick little check for understanding. Again, quick scan, I can take those mental notes, but it's also engagement. I get that formative, quick little, how do we do? But also kids, everyone answers every time. It's not just the one student raising their hand and shouting out the answer, right? We have routines, and that's one important part of engagement, is putting structures in place, having those procedures ready to use, so that way students have opportunities to engage. Let's look at that lesson again this time and just say, oh, okay, we watched some videos about symmetry and we looked at some examples here. Now I want to look at this arrow here. And I look at it, it's got a line, and the question says, are both sides the same? I want you to put your thinking cap. Are both sides the same here? And I'm going to have you give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down about what it is. Don't show me yet. Don't show me yet. Remember, we're going to play show me. So in your lap, I want you to either give me I want you to put a thumbs up in your lap, hide it, hide it, hide it, because that means, yes, you think both sides are the same, or you can do a thumbs down. You guys have your answer? Are you ready? Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, show me. Right? And so it's just a way to have them engage with that. And then we can continue on. Yes, you're right. Both sides are exactly the same. They are equal. It is a line of symmetry. Will you read the sentence with me? Yes, this is a line of symmetry. Symmetry, of course, what does it mean? They are the same. Right? Those call and response, those participation opportunities, we can use them in class, but we can also mimic that in a virtual learning environment as well. Okay, here we go. Here's the next one. Are both sides the same, friends? Take a close look. Ooh, I noticed that the line is in a different place. I wonder if that changes my answer. Okay, you ready? 1, 2, 3, show me, right? It's that basic engagement. It's one low-tech way I can check for engagement and make sure that every student is on every page with me. Yes, this is a line of symmetry. Both sides the same. You ready? Ready? Hide it. Hide it. We got your answer hidden. 1, 2, 3, show me. Oh, yeah, you guys are right. You notice that they're not the same. It is not symmetrical. Let's say that. This is not a line of symmetry. Read with me. This is not a line of symmetry. They're not the same. They're not equal. So just making that quick difference, right? I could have them talk, I could pull my stick, but just by putting some procedures in place, like show me, I've already kicked the engagement up a notch, right? We're already a little bit more active every page of the lesson. Everyone is offering an answer. Now, continuing on with this, right? I have a couple more examples here. Are both sides the same? We can just keep doing the same thing. 1, 2, 3, show me, all right? And we can really look at that. We might have students start to notice, oh, it's in half, but oh, wow, they're not exactly the same. If I cut it in half, I notice only one half has the antennae and the one half, they are not, right? This is not symmetrical. This is symmetrical. But when we do an activity like this show me activity, and we do a quick lesson on lines of symmetry, we definitely already used some of those math practices. We were reasoning abstractly and quantitatively. We were thinking about the math. Sometimes it was with a number idea, but some of it was very abstract. Some of it was counting. Some of it was measuring. So we were reasoning there. Attending to precision, right? That butterfly example was a perfect example of making sure that we notice precision, right? It could be really easy to decide that the butterfly was symmetrically cut when it was going horizontal this way, but we noticed that slight little difference of the antennae. So yeah, being precise in our mathematics, attending to precision is also using precise vocabulary. And that's why when I do a lesson like this, I might use that word symmetry, but I often include words like same, equal, just to make sure that we are using the precise vocabulary, symmetry, but also offering some scaffolds for our learners who might need to hear it different ways. And this activity very much is about looking for and making use of structure, looking at the structure of these shapes. So in this version, the show me version of this lesson, we have, also, in addition to talking about the content, the idea of half, talking about matching sides, this visual lesson about symmetry, we're also making sure that we have this other part in place. We're using the math practices as part of our lesson. What if I told you, though, that I could give you even more engagement and we could use more math practices by adding a tool here? We're going to add a tool called Pear Deck, because with Pear Deck, instead of just showing your slides and having those little engagement routines, every student can respond right on their own screen. Engagement in a virtual learning environment, or if they're in your classroom as well. The Pear Deck slides help you engage in every student in every seat, and you get some quick formative assessment as well. It's an interactive, community-focused, everyone gets to build confidence, everyone is a part of the lesson, and we get data of how they did, right? We can see direct responses. So here on this page, you're gonna see a couple links if you wanna come back to them later. You see a link to the Pear Deck website, it is just peardeck.com. But I also wanna point out a tool we need to make this happen, and that is a slides add-on. So our lessons are going to be created in Google Slides, and we're going to use an add-on. The add-on is called Pear Deck, right? The Pear Deck add-on for slides, because slides and Pear Deck are going to work together to make this next part of the lesson happen. Now, remember, we are still talking about lines of symmetry. Lines of symmetry is still the lesson. And in this next version of it, when we add Pear Deck, we're going to add some additional math practices because we're going to be talking about tools and using tools strategically. And we're also going to have some modeling that gets to come into play. So I'm going to share my screen in a different way, and we're going to talk a little bit more about Pear Deck. And then we will play Pear Deck. We'll get to use it as a part of this lesson for the purpose of engaging all learners. So let's see if I can. Awesome. I think we've got it. All right, I'm sharing this screen. All right, let's take a look here. I want to make sure I'm going to have a student side and the teacher side going on in a bit. I want to make sure that you can really see what's going on here. So here I have my lesson slides, and these are the same lesson slides that we were using there. But this time we're going to add the Pear Deck. We're going to add those engagement pieces. Now, you haven't seen that at work yet, and you'll get to see the student experience in just a couple minutes, but I really want to make sure you see this building of the Pear Deck. If you recall the lesson, we're familiar with the lesson. I asked a question, are both sides the same? And I had the option where we just talked about it, where we had a pair share. Maybe I called on a friend. Or we also had the option where we did the show me, thumbs up, thumbs down, super low tech engagement. But what if I told you the kiddos could drag a check mark to yes or no, and you could get all of the responses there at once? Would it be worth it? You want to try it? I'm going to go ahead and start my Pear Deck add-on. I'm going to open up my Pear Deck add-on, and I go over to my button here that says add-ons. So in Google Slides, I can go to my add-ons, and I'm going to go ahead and choose my Pear Deck add-on. Now, if you don't have the Pear Deck add-on yet, guess what? You go to the one right below there that says Get Add-ons, and you'll be able to get this add-on for your slides. So I'm going to launch it, and when I open up the Pear Deck add-on, you'll see that I get a toolbar that's going to come up over on the right-hand side of my screen. And over here, I have my Pear Deck add-on. Now, in this example, are both sides the same? Remember, I was having my students give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. But here what I can do is I can have the learners drag a check mark to yes or no. One of the kinds of things I can do in some parts of Pear Deck is I can either have them draw, circle the response, or I can have them drag response. Depending on what version of Pear Deck you have, there are a number of item types we have here. I notice there are text item type. In a text item type, students would type in the answer. There's also the choice one. I could have them multiple choice, so they could have an option that says yes or an option that says no. I can have a number, I can have it go to a website, I could have them draw, right? If I have students in place with me, I could have them just circle their response. Very basic, very simple. But I'm going to check the one here that says draggable. And I'm going to choose a draggable. And when I get to the draggable, a menu is going to come up here. And on this menu, it's going to let me format my Google slide, right? I'm going to format my draggable option for this Pear Deck. It starts as a dot, and you see there's a dot there that I could have students drag. I'm going to go ahead and use a check mark. I see that within the tool, there's a number of choices here I could go through. I can have them put a flag, a marker. I'm going to go ahead and go choose the one that is a check mark. I'm going to have the students drag a check mark. You see they have a check mark, and I'll teach them to either choose yes or no. Now I can change the color if I'd like. There's a few options here, and I'll point out to the students, you see the check mark? I want you to drag your check mark and choose yes or no. So the student task, this is going to be something we'll do a few times before they do it completely independently, but we want to make sure that they know that that check mark's there and that they can pick it up and move it. You'll see that in a little bit when I show the student version, but all I need to do is I had a question, right? I had a question that I created myself. I put in the text that says are both sides the same. I put in the example, and then I'm going to choose yes or no. So let me go ahead and update that one. And what's happening right now is that the Pear Deck is working its magic, right? It is now formatting this Google slide. It was a plain old Google slide in the first couple versions of this lesson, but now we're adding this interactive content onto the slide. And so once that's been set up, we can continue. So now you'll see that this little icon shows up at the bottom. I see my Pear Deck content is there. Awesome. Once I've put this Pear Deck in here, I don't want to take out the bar because that's where the magic of Pear Deck happens. So when the students get this, and when you see the student version a bit, you'll notice that the kids can drag a check mark over. Now continue on, and I'm going to repeat this, right? Doing things similarly means that students can become familiar with the process. So I'm going to do the exact